Hello and welcome to another episode of Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Krusty and I'm here with my good compadre Keeney.
Hey guys.
I think that's the right word, I don't know.
Yeah,
And
I'll take it.
unfortunately, our man Fisher is feeling a bit under the weather and he mustn't be very well at all because he would claw himself onto this podcast if he could.
Yeah,
So get well soon, Fisher, and
get
we'll
well
have his
soon.
news segments next week. As usual, we're going to be going over the WWE stuff today. It will be Raw and SmackDown review and just general discussion about the happenings in WWE. If you haven't liked and subscribed, if you're watching on YouTube, please do so. Really would appreciate that. And we are Recharge Wrestling. Just put it in your search bar. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at Recharge Wrestle. So yeah, should we get straight in with SmackDown, which was pre-Crown Jewel, so it'll be about half of the show, but there was a few things that went on actually.
Yeah, and really the main SmackDown talking point is the main event we got for the Intercontinental title between Rey Mysterio and Gunther in a banger.
Absolute banger, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gunther doesn't miss, does he? His matches.
It's rare that people come up from NXT or NXT UK and I think get better. It's quite weird. Like usually I think, well, their matches were far more aggressive and things like that in NXT UK and NXT. But actually, I think Gunther has stepped it up again. And that's probably maybe down to the talent he's facing off with. I mean, Rey Mysterio, you can't get much more experience, can you? But he's just complimenting everybody, isn't he? Which I think I honestly believe I said he wouldn't suit the main roster. I know he's changed his image quite heavily to fit a main roster with his weight loss and things like that. So he looks great. But I don't know. He's just completely proven me wrong. He's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we just see him a lot more. I think in NXT UK in particular, his appearances are very sporadic. So he'd only really appear for the big fights. So you wouldn't see him on week-to-week TV often. Whereas at the moment we're seeing him, he's having a match every other week. And I mean, they're all title matches. And the thing is, everything he does is really important. He is being booked as strong as possible to be beating people like Sheamus or multiple times, Rey Mysterio, just beating them clean. Ricochet, I think he's beat Nakamura. I think
I'm glad he got a clean win here.
Imperium are there, but he's never won because of Imperium. He just wins because he's better than the opposition, and he's just been booked so strong. The only doubt I have on the whole Gunther thing is it's hard to look too impressive when you're on the same show as Roman Reigns, where he's the dominant heel. So like Gunther will never be the top dominant heel on SmackDown because it's impossible with Roman Reigns on the show. So,
but I think he's making this title prestigious enough that it's almost, it's difficult to say it because he's not, but on a level with it's on a level with that big WWE title, and that's what we needed because before, I hate to say it, but Shinsuke's reign was terrible, and I think he defended it twice or three times, whereas this finally this title means something. It feels like there's people going after him. We've had some brilliant matches, absolutely fantastic matches. It's been defended on pay-per-views. It's brilliant.
It's definitely brought back its prestige and
enough for a top mark, would you say?
Probably. I mean, there was some good stuff this week on Raw and SmackDown, but yeah, I think it's best match of the week, and there were some good matches, definitely. I think also credit to Rey Mysterio as well, because he's obviously on the towards the end of his career, so to say, but he still can go, and it's hard, I think, as someone that small against someone like Gunther to look credible, because Gunther should really just squash him because just the size difference. But I think the way Rey wrestles is very impressive, and he's done it throughout his career. This isn't a new point. I'm not groundbreaking. He's done this for 10, 15, 20 years, but he just could go with any size wrestler. He could probably have a great cruiserweight match with Ricochet. He could have a great, match against Gunter. And yeah, just credit to Ray, someone at his age to be as impressive as he is incredible, really. And I think it's a real breath of fresh air for him to come onto SmackDown, a new environment, fresh matches, and just
away from Dominic.
Yeah, and we'll go back to that, I reckon, Mania. But
yeah,
I think
definitely,
it was completely the right move for him. And yeah, just a great main event. And I'm not surprised it was great, but just great.
Really enjoyed it. Something else I actually thought was real good, if you finish speaking about that match now.
Yep.
Was Liv Morgan versus Sonya Deville in a no DQ match. Wow. This impressed me. This was so good. And again, I can't help but think the reason Liv didn't look that great is because she was facing Ronda in the last feud, which is such a shame. Because straight away, I thought both of these superstars were just incredible. Absolute banger run match. I mean, I had a holy shit moment where they were on the ropes and Liv was being pulled by Sonya with a table behind him, and she just went, "Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna fall backwards," and absolutely splatted through the table. I was like, "Oh my god, that has to hurt!" But wow, yeah, really sort of dropped my jaw that bit.
Yeah, it was a really good match, and I think when you've got a pay-per-view like Crown Jewel where everyone's overseas, I mean, I know this was pre-taped, this show, so this didn't actually happen on Friday night, but I think it's good to just put people that aren't on the card in big featured matches. And this, we mentioned Ray and Gunter. This is another one where they just let these two have a fair amount of time to kick off the show. They've built it up for a few weeks, so it wasn't just a cold match just for the sake of it. And yeah, Liv is going in an interesting direction. I'm still not quite sure whether she's going to go heel, whether she's going to end up with Bray or whatever's going to happen, because she's definitely going darker, but she still is against Sonya Deville, who's a clear heel. So I don't think she's quite gone heel yet. And I don't know if that's their actual intention, but intriguing. And it's, the main thing really is they've kept Liv relevant and changed her character after losing the title, where she could have just gone off TV for a bit and then, her reign would have felt a bit more worthless than it does, but she still feels like a big deal. She still feels like one of the main women on SmackDown, despite not being champion.
Completely agree with you there.
Yeah, but another good match.
Yeah, and Liv getting the upper hand and winning. So a new feud I think we're going to get in the women's division, which is nice because I think we need some fresh feuds going on there, and with different people as well. So we had Emma chatting backstage, and then Xia Li actually approaching her, still as a heel, basically saying she's weak, and then Emma, I think, laid into her. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, the question we had last week was, what does Emma do after losing to Ronda on her first night? And this does feel like a lower card feud. It's nothing spectacular for Emma. She hasn't come in and lit the division alight. But it's probably a good starting feud for her to just win.
Solid, doesn't it? Yeah, to have a bit more.
And there's women's
substance.
Feuds going all around, because we've just spoken about 2 matches or 2 feuds here, and none of them involving the champion. On SmackDown, and I think we said for a while how shallow the SmackDown, I mean the SmackDown roster in general, but the women's division as well was very shallow. And all of a sudden, we've got a few people. We've still got Raquel, Aaliyah, Shotzi, despite these people we've mentioned, and without Ronda as champ as well, and there's a couple others. So it's all of a sudden the division's shaping up, and just everyone's doing something. No one's kind of kicking their heels at the moment, and that's a big feature of Triple H's booking. I think is that everyone has a purpose, even if it's silly. Maybe we don't agree with it. Everyone is doing something and has a reason to fight. There's not many cold matches being put out at the moment. Like they could have just put Emma v Xia Li on next week's SmackDown.
Yeah.
But they've given us a little preamble here, so it means something, this match.
It's all it needs, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what they've actually, we criticised it last week. I think both of us skid marked it, but the Shinsuke thing with Hit Row, I think we have Shinsuke v Escobar on SmackDown this Friday. And again, that now
I hope Escobar
has
destroys Shinsuke.
Yeah,
That will
Escobar
bring it
has
back
to
me.
win that match. But, that was a silly decision maybe last week. But if it leads to a Shinsuke Escobar feud and there's something building there, then actually you can probably allow it. So, yeah, just good stuff. I'm just really positive at the moment. And whilst we're in the women's division, we haven't mentioned much the champ yet, but Ronda Rousey is definitely aligned with Shayna Baszler now.
Yeah.
Because she came down to ring with Shayna against Natalya. Bit of a weird matchup because Natalya has been heel for quite a while. So, this is, and Shayna and Ronda are definitely heels. So this isn't like, but I guess it's a heel on heel match, and Shayna just looks quite dominant, looking strong, which we haven't seen for a long time.
I prefer this Shayna Baszler. This is how Shayna should be.
Yeah. And Shayna and Ronda teaming up it's been screaming out from the moment Ronda debuted, 4 years ago, whenever she debuted. So it's now finally happening. I would just prefer if Ronda wasn't champion and then they go after the tag belts. Maybe they still do, maybe. Because I think Ronda and Shayna as tag champs, just destroying teams, could be quite an interesting, could be a good way to really spice up the women's division, tag division. Sorry.
Could be good. It's just how far does that go, though? How many people have they got to destroy? That's the issue, I guess, with tags teams.
Yeah, there isn't many knocking about,
limitation, isn't there?
Yeah.
At least as a singles wrestler, you've got, well, essentially twice the amount, at least.
Yeah, but at the moment we don't have a challenger for Ronda or anyone who even looks like potentially being a challenger.
But I can only feel it could be Charlotte. That's the only thing.
Who
else could it be?
The other question is how soon do they do Shayna and Ronda getting fed up and having a match for the title? Because that, I feel like is
that'd be good.
It's going to happen, isn't it? Now they're interacting. It's going to happen at some point. Shayna's going to be like, "Well, I want to be champion." Maybe Mania. We wait till Mania for that. I don't know, and just give Ronda a couple of whatever bit part challenges. She's already faced Natalya. She's already faced Emma. Maybe she takes on Shotzi or someone. I don't know. Maybe just keep her.
She's
going.
A very difficult person to beat. To book.
But maybe
she's just too good.
The story of her making Shayna ruthless again, then Shayna being so ruthless that she beats Ronda for the title, could make actually a bit of sense. And that's a way to beat Ronda.
Yeah. I couldn't see in Vince's WWE Shayna Baszler ever being champion, ever.
No.
But in Triple H's, it's highly possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
You forget that Triple H basically had Shayna Baszler beat Bianca Belair 3 times.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler was champ on NXT for like a year plus. Yeah, she was a long reigning champ. So he does think highly of her, and rightly so. I mean, she is at her peak on NXT. She was the real deal, wasn't she, Shayna?
Yeah, she was a good wrestler. You loved her, didn't you? I remember.
Yeah, she's just brutal, just breaking people's arms.
I was always disappointed that Bianca lost to her every time. I was fuming.
Yeah, I know, and now look at Bianca go. So
I know, yeah, she's a bit of a changed character now, though.
Yeah, but a lot of interesting points in the women's division though on SmackDown. Quite
something
interesting
just to mention
week.
There really was obviously Shayna picked up the win.
Oh yeah,
but the after angle was basically showing Shayna's real ruthlessness by attacking Natty after the bell, but
shattered her nose,
kick Natty in the face and actually kicked her in the face. You heard the
this is
collision,
a horrible moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, Natty's blood was not fake. She smashed her nose up big time. She's broken her nose again.
Yeah, she might be out for a little while.
Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not the first time she's done that. I think Carmella broke her nose last time, and I don't think she was too happy about that either. So, yeah, that was not nice. So,
but I know it wasn't, but it kind of does play into this new Shayna.
Good, yeah.
It kind of
really
works for the character.
definitely. But yeah,
to actually shatter someone's nose on
yeah,
TV.
it definitely, yeah, it does. She's going to come out laughing away next week. But yeah, some real interesting stuff going on. Something I'm interested in as well is LA Knight. I don't think I did that right, actually. No, he hasn't done it enough. That's it. Yeah. LA Knight versus Ricochet, which actually I'm quite excited about this because Ricochet's a fantastic wrestler and LA Knight is great. And I'm so glad he's getting this sort of push in the mid card. They're giving him the microphone, and what a fire heel he is. Really enjoying this.
It's just mad that Vince didn't do this straight away. Like I know it's great, but why
strange
wasn't this the first thing you do about LA Knight? It's just bonkers.
It is crazy, isn't it? But he doesn't see the same in people. Although you'd think, looking at LA Knight, he is right up Vince's street.
Yeah, he is.
He's absolutely jacked.
Brilliant talker. He's one of the best in WWE right now, and he's
fantastic. And you see this here as a heel. When we see in NXT, we saw him be a heel, a face. Was it a face, a heel, a face? It was a bit strange.
He flip flopped a bit, didn't he?
Which was good though, because I never got bored of it. But here he was insulting Ricochet's girlfriend, the announcer, in front of Ricochet. It just made me laugh, but he was just a great heel. And he's also pulling stuff out of the bag in the ring. Like he did a moonsault for someone his size to do that off the top. It was like a spring. Did they call it a springboard or something? Off the top rope. That's mad for someone as stacked as him. I've not seen anyone that size really do it.
It's bloody impressive.
He's so good when he wants to be.
And he got the win here as well. Beat Ricochet, which it was like a roll up, hold on to the tights
and ropes, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was
suits here, doesn't it? It suits his character.
Yeah, but I think this is gonna roll on this feud. And again, it's a mid card feud, but it's against
nice pun.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mean that. But it works for both of these people. It's a good starting feud for LA Knight. Ricochet would do nothing better than this, so it just fits. It's just all fitting in the moment. Everything works in.
He's a clever man, isn't he, Triple H?
Yeah, I think especially SmackDown. Oh, actually, we'll get Raw as well. We'll get on to Raw, but yeah, both actually. I'm not just going to single out SmackDown, but
I think he's remaking his puzzle on Raw.
But
I haven't got anything else to say on SmackDown unless you do, because we had a lot of Bloodline stuff, but that all led to
else. I mean,
Crown Jewel.
Bray Wyatt kind of shouted at a crew member who told him to shut up. But then he went on and spoke at Crown Jewel, which you've already spoke about, which if you haven't seen the video, go check it out. Krusty gave his review of Crown Jewel, which is a very good listen. I enjoyed that.
Wunderbar.
Yeah, very good. And we got another little promo from the Viking Raiders. Beginning their ascent to Valhalla, whatever that means. But yeah, they're coming back with Sarah Logan as a heel team. I don't know. I'm not really excited about the Viking Raiders, but
I was enjoying them before they went. I was.
Yeah, they definitely, as a heel, work a bit better.
Unless if they seem to be, we've mentioned this a few times, mixed faction seems to be a thing Triple H is really hot on at the moment. And I think they're going to come back with potentially Sarah Logan, aren't they? Which could make it more interesting.
Another woman.
Gives another someone, in the women's division.
And we haven't mentioned B-Fab either. She's on there now. And Zelina Vega. There's a couple more on SmackDown recently been added.
I do like. It's weird because I've got into this habit of thinking, oh, that person wasn't on this week. But actually, I think that's good. Let's mix it up so people on the show every week alternate it.
I mean, that's probably a good segue into Raw because there was a few people on Raw we hadn't seen for a long time. Have matches.
People to go.
Namely Cedric Alexander, who we haven't seen for a little while. He was the opponent for Baron Corbin this week.
Got destroyed,
but that's
what we want for our big man Corbin.
What should happen? And Corbin's
poor old Cedric
winning streak continues, and just interesting to see Cedric on TV. We haven't seen him for a little while. He pops up every now and then does a little something.
I'm glad he's still around because he's a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah. And the other one was Shelton Benjamin, who we haven't seen for a little while. He lost to Austin Theory. And put on an actually decent show, I thought. I actually thought Benjamin looked all right here. You kind of forget how good he is in ring, Shelton Benjamin.
Good in ring,
yeah. But Theory picked up the win.
Should we use that as a segue onto the main?
Yeah, we probably should, because there was a lot that happened on Raw. So this isn't necessarily, this is probably the biggest thing. But
well, Theory, I think the only reason they threw this match in was to give Theory a win after his 15-week loss streak. Triple H is shitting on Theory, on Vince's Theory.
He did beat Ali last week or the week before, so he has had a couple of wins.
It's been a very slow build, hasn't it, to him not being pants.
But before that, he lost a lot.
Too much.
And maybe we should have predicted. He had a couple of wins, maybe building up to a cash in. But did you expect this in the main event?
I did predict this a while back. I said I think Theory's going to have the only thing he can do is cash in on a mid-card belt. So this is quite complex. There's a lot to this, wasn't there?
It's an interesting main event. Yeah.
Lashley accepted the challenge, Seth's open challenge?
Well, originally Seth got earlier in the night, and then we'll get onto the Bloodline and stuff later on. But not Bloodline, whatever they're called, Judgment Day. Anyway, he come out at the end with another open challenge and said and also before this, he kind of, I felt, turned a bit face. I think they're going face with Seth, because he was very much like, no, I made a promise, I'm going to stick to it. I'm the fighting champion, which isn't what heels would do. That's quite a face move. So I think they are turning Seth face.
I don't want him to turn face. I think he needs to stay as he is.
I think that's what we're seeing. Well, anyway, Mustafa Ali then comes up on the Tron and was like, I'll fight you, or something, or I thought I was next. And then Lashley just takes out Ali, completely destroys him.
That's it.
And then we get Lashley come to the ring and absolutely brutalize
Seth, doesn't
Seth. And Lashley's gone from being face to, this is quite a clear heel tactic from Lashley. That's why I also think this might be Seth turning face, because he is the sympathetic figure here. He got destroyed by Lashley, and then he got cashed in on by Theory. Both big heels.
I agree, but I just don't think it's the right move. I think keeping him on this tightrope where he does both, he does both, doesn't he? He's obviously got the face characteristics with the chant in his music, but then you've got the real arrogance and the fact that it will just stomp on anyone's head for no reason.
I want to keep that. It's a definite heel finisher, isn't it?
I just want to keep that. I don't want him to go face, because I think then it starts to become stale. I just think this unpredictability is just brilliant. Why do you have to have a clear line of he's getting cheered, but he's also getting booed? One week he can get booed for stomping on Riddle's head, and the next week he's getting cheered when he's beating up Theory. This had me on the edge of my seat. This did. This is weird for me, because I don't know if this has happened before. I think it has, but this is a first, I think, on Recharge Wrestling. This segment is my skid mark and my top mark.
Oh, God, that's impressive.
Let me go in with my top mark first. Because this kept me on the edge of my seat. I didn't expect it to happen, and not here. So Lashley obviously got beats up Seth so bad the Theory comes down to the ring. Something I did predict may happen, just because there's no way he's going to beat Roman. Under Triple H, though, he obviously doesn't like Theory, or he's trying to sort of get back at his daddy-in-law. Wants the awkward Christmas dinner, and had Theory cash in, and I was on the edge of my seat. You know how big a Seth Rollins fan I am, and I'd have been livid if Seth lost this here. But just things like him pedigreeing, Theory pedigreed Seth, which is just, I was like, no way, you're going to end this on Seth being pedigreed. And he was kicking out of everything, weren't he, Seth? And I was popping all over the living room.
Well, and then we had Lashley take out Theory as well, didn't he? So Lashley just took out everyone.
He got the hurt lock on Theory, didn't he? and then we obviously get the stomp, and then Seth manages to get the pin.
Yeah.
So just the fact that this was so crazy out of nowhere really did surprise me. Although I'd have been livid if Seth lost his belt already.
I know you would
But
have, yeah.
the skid mark is the fact that we have wasted another Money in the Bank cash in.
Yeah.
One, he cashed in on a mid-card title, which I kind of think's clever in a way. You've got
I don't
the
think it's
bloodline.
ever been
It's never been
like
done, is it?
said. Well, it's never been done. It's ever been said you have to cash in on a world
No.
champion. It's just said you can cash in on a champion.
Sense, I guess, because the bloodline are all around Roman. Why would you try do that when he's got so
Yeah,
many people
and
around him?
yeah, it makes sense. And also the mid-card titles have been elevated. We talked
Yeah,
about
big
Gunther
time.
already. Steph and Lashley before him have elevated the US title to basically the main title on Raw, isn't it? It is, essentially.
It's just the waste of it, though. Again, you can't have this many Money in the Banks wasted. And I know Triple
The
H
next
is
one
trying
has
to reset
to
it.
be a successful cash-in.
Well, there's such a big
can't do it
rumor
again.
that they're sacking off the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and Triple H
Doing
wants
it
to make
at Mania.
WrestleMania one night women's, next night men's.
Yeah,
and I think that
I'm
makes
fine with
sense because it means you can go all the way to Mania with no cash in, and go over it, which I think's good. I think having a time limit on general, I don't think there should be a time limit. I think they should be able to carry it longer if they want. Which I think would be quite a good idea.
Interesting to have two Money in the Banks at the same time. Like if someone waited over a year and then two of them are coming out at ringside, that would be quite interesting.
Yeah,
if they ever did that.
But that's my skid mark. The fact that they've wasted such a good thing. It's just such a cool thing, Money in the Bank, and they've messed it up with the men's division for as long as I can remember, I think. So
I mean, the last successful one
was
Brock, wasn't it? He cashed in.
And I didn't like that either.
Did he cash in on Kofi? Was it Kofi cashing on?
Yeah, he wrecked him.
Whoever it was, he won it very quickly. And also Brock doesn't need to cash in. Brock can just have a title match whenever he wants, basically.
Brock didn't need Money in the Bank. Otis,
and he wasn't even in the match either.
Gave it away to Miz for a lawsuit.
He lost it.
Baron Corbin didn't cash in successfully.
Strowman failed as well.
Yeah, absolutely insane. I mean, come on, let's get this. It's got to next year. You can't not. Whoever gets that briefcase is going to cash in and win. So
they have to, yeah. There's no. I just feel sorry for Austin Theory because when he won Money in the Bank, he probably thought I'm going to be world champion, and then Vince leaves and his whole trajectory changes the other way. And
that was a farce. The way he won that was just ridiculous, wasn't it? He just come in randomly at the end and won it. It was poor. Really,
he was in the match though, unlike Brock, who wasn't in the match.
Yeah, that was
when he won it. And just
in fact, the Money in the Bank has just been crap.
It has been rubbish for a little while. They need to change it up. Maybe putting it at Mania might make it better.
I think it'd be much better, and he'll probably have put more thought into it as well.
And there's also with money, especially if there's two nights, you can cash in on the main event. So that's the biggest place to cash in on. So the chances of cashing in on the same night or the night after are very strong. But yeah, I mean, I was like, my mind was going back and forth in this main event. I had no idea what was. At one point, I thought Theory was definitely going to be champion, and then I thought no, Seth's definitely going to win. And like, I didn't know what was happening in this main event. I was all over the shop with. But again, it just kept you on the edge of your seat, just watching. You couldn't take your eyes off it because you didn't know what was going to happen next. And and Lashley took out Theory, and it was all going on. So there's a lot to unravel on Raw this week coming up because how's Theory going to react? How's Lashley going to react? How's Ali going to react? Seth's going to react. They've all got like gripes from this main event section. So I wonder whether we're going to end up with a triple threat of Ali, Seth, and Lashley, and maybe throw Theory in there, or maybe have a fatal four-way for the
that'd be pretty cool.
IC or something, or US title.
Feels quite a Survivor Series match, doesn't it?
Yeah, could well be Survivor Series. We can move on to potentially Survivor Series match, maybe not, but we've been saying, and I think you actually said last week, you definitely said it in your Crown Jewel review, that they need to just reveal this OC member to
Yes, I was having a right old
even
moan.
up the odds on Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Did you
I forgot
expect
about
it to
this.
be Mia Yim?
No, not in a
No.
million years.
Completely threw
But
me.
what a match! What a fit she is for the OC.
It does kind of work, but is she compared to Charlotte or Beth Phoenix, who I think were the most predicted people? Mia Yim feels like a step down in terms of just size, but in terms of like the hierarchy of WWE, Mia Yim feels a bit more mid card than Charlotte or Beth Phoenix, who feel top.
Yeah, but I don't think the OC versus Judgment Day is really a top tier. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel top tier. Also, Triple H is about making new stars.
Yeah.
If you bring Beth Phoenix in, if you bring Charlotte Flair in, you're just doing the same old thing, aren't you? And I was a big advocate of having Charlotte come in. I thought that would have been brilliant. But I just think Mia's got this sort of aggression and this look about her, which I think could match off quite nicely against Rhea. And I won't lie, I wasn't a big Mia Yim fan. I don't know if you recall that far back.
I've never been fussed of her.
I wasn't that keen, but here she looked cool. She looked brutal. She fit in, and I'm a massive OC fan, so
it'd be nice if we had Fisher, because I don't know if there's any history between like Anderson and Gallows and Mia Yim, or AJ and Mia Yim from going back years. I don't know if there's like a link there, or whether this is a completely, because to me it felt a little bit random, but there might be some sort of
it was she
there.
Found us, wasn't it? They said we were looking and she found us, which is quite cool. Did Mia and Rhea have a feud in NXT? I know Rhea wasn't there too long.
Honestly, Mia Yim's run is very forgettable. I don't remember much of it, even in NXT.
No.
I don't.
Could be one of those though, that one of those people who don't do much in NXT, but when they come up to the main roster, they just seems to work.
Well, this is, I know it's not like top of the card, but it's a pretty big slot for her to come in with the likes of Rhea, Finn Balor, AJ Styles. Like, you know, it's a pretty big slot. The only issue with how they presented it was the crowd did not react again. We saw this with Emma the week before on SmackDown. I think I was actually looking away at the time, and like usually the crowd will gasp and I'll be like, oh yeah, who's, you know, what's happened? But like nothing happened. I think commentator said, oh, that's Mia Yim. And I looked up and I was like, oh yeah, like why didn't the crowd react? Like there's nothing from the crowd.
The problem is you've got main roster fans.
Yeah, who just don't know who she is.
If they've not watched NXT.
Yeah, she was Reckoning, wasn't she, on the main roster in a mask?
Oh, and that didn't
with Retribution.
That didn't last long at all.
Was a mess.
Yeah, I never in a million years expected to see Mia Yim, because there was so many rumors of her going to AEW ages ago.
Yeah, you used to assume with Keith Lee, don't you?
But no, she come back. Triple H is doing 100%. Let's see how she does. Yeah.
And again, just filling out that roster again. I mean, I have to be fair, because I criticize AEW a lot for them bringing in just revealing new people every week. There's someone new's joined, or there's a new, you know, trying to get the next big pop. And Triple H is starting to just bring back, like, Emma felt random. Mia Yim feels a bit random. Okay, they are padding out the women's division. I actually think they're needed. I don't think these are bad acquisitions. Even like some of the AEW ones aren't bad acquisitions, but they just feels like it may need to slow down a little bit with keep bringing in new people. Maybe
depends what you do, because if you end up having sort of a two-halved feud, so like 1 week you're having some people and then you'll miss, and then the next week it's others. I think it works and it keeps it less stale. So you just have like a promo for some 1 week, but then the match is different. So it was quite nice seeing Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin this week. Things like that, just something different, but it builds to the feuds coming up. But no, I see what you're saying, but I also think Triple H is probably going to start to look to get rid of some of the but like sort of push back maybe Natty. Now she's injured. I can't see her coming back on TV too soon. Excuse me. I don't know if that's the last we've seen of this is a bit of a segue, but I don't know if this is the last we've seen of Dana Brooke or she's going to go on to do something else. There's certain people I just don't think we're going to see much of now.
Maybe not. Although I do feel like Triple H would be more likely to just push him back to NXT rather than release.
Yes,
seems to be. I think if we saw Dana Brooke and Natalia in NXT, that wouldn't be a surprise.
No.
On a full-time basis. But that is a good segue onto Dana Brooke, as we had a 24/7 title match on the show, and a new champion, and maybe last ever champion, Nikki Cross, beating Dana Brooke, which is interesting because Dana Brooke, I think Fisher said last week that she had made comments about wanting to legitimize the 24/7 title and make it into a mid-card women's title. And again, I don't know Fisher's sources. I'm just repeating what Fisher said last week. And then, so if she's making those comments in public and then the next week having it taken off her, and not only that, but the title probably being axed as Nikki Cross threw it in the trash later on.
I wonder if she's annoyed someone. I do wonder if she's annoyed someone, because you've had some very big guys say things. Like you had Seth the other week make a comment about it.
And she kicked off, and
she kicked off about it. And then this, as you say, this occurs. Nikki Cross wins, throws it in the bin as if it's like a piece of dirt.
Yeah.
And you also had Corey. This did make me laugh, but it makes me think it's like they've been egged on a little bit. Corey said, I didn't have enough time to say anything to annoy Dana Brooke for her to say something on the internet. Or something like that.
Interesting line, isn't it?
I was like, wow, he's gone in there. And that makes me feel like these are all top guys who'll be talking to Triple H probably quite frequently, and they're making these comments. I don't think Corey would have said that.
He's on the headset, isn't he, Triple H? He might just be like, if you can just have a little dig at Dana for me. But maybe Dana has upset someone. Triple H or whoever.
I don't know. It just seems like, I don't think Corey would say that if Seth had have had a bollocking. I just don't think so. Although he is quite outspoken, isn't he? So maybe. But I was a little bit sad because I was quite excited that this might be turning into a lower card title that they just defend every other week, just randomly, and it just flicks about between random people. I wouldn't be too opposed to seeing that. These random matches they sometimes have just has a title, so it has a bit of meaning behind it. But I think it's gone in the bin.
I think I'm glad it's gone.
I didn't like what it was.
The 24/7 title ever really worked. They tried to recreate the hardcore title a bit at one point, and then
I missed the hardcore title. That was awesome.
But again, the hardcore title, there was a point where it was basically a 24/7 title towards the end, where there was that night. Was it WrestleMania where it got changed hands like 20 times in one night? Which was basically 24/7 title. Well, it was just roll-ups in the backstage.
That's awful. Yeah, I don't like that. I liked it when you used to have proper matches. You had like hardcore Holly and stuff like that, just smashing each other in the head with bin lids and things. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And we've come up with ways they could have used it. We mentioned Sami Zayn before, but I think the end goal of it being axed is not a surprise. Triple H has never used it really on TV, so him getting rid of it, and even Vince didn't use it towards the end, did he? He lost interest fairly quickly with it. So it's a title we don't need, and I think the less titles, the better in a way, because makes the champions feel a bit more special. Dana Brooke running around as a champion, which isn't not you're not really a champion, does feel a bit silly from times. So I think it's good to get rid of, but I feel a bit sorry for Dana Brooke, but maybe she's brought it on herself. But the to kind of segue from Nikki Cross is we have War Games, and we don't have Fisher here to do his impression, but we have War Games, the first War Games match announced, or at least the start of it, of Team Belair against Damage Control, and now Nikki Cross has joined them for this match, it seems. But they've made it quite clear from the graphics it's going to be 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Do you have predictions for the remaining 2 people on Belair's team and the last person on Damage Control.
I remember seeing something Fisher sent out yesterday.
I think Candice LeRae is
right.
definitely going to join Belair's team. That's 4-on-4. I don't know where the last 2 come from, personally.
I'm interested, and it's hard to guess in Triple H's world because it's just so.
Yeah, it might
sporadic,
be
isn't it?
like Billy Kay and Nia Jax by the time we get to it. Who
Billy
knows?
Kay and Nia Jax.
Who knows what they'll bring back? I mean, Doudrop feels like someone who could work on.
Yeah, certainly. She's not
on
done
Nikki
a lot
Cross's
lately.
side with Damage Control. And I don't know who you put on Belair's side, honestly.
Trying to think of the roster. It's difficult when you sort of put on the spot.
Indy Hartwell, called up Indy Hartwell, maybe with Candice.
I
could
think
work.
It's a bit soon to call someone up and put them straight in a match, though.
Yeah. Although, has Indy wrestled in War Games before? I don't know if she was in one. I know Candice has been in one. I know Io Shirai's been in one. And Dakota Kai, they've all been in one.
We'll put Cora Jade in one. She can jump off the top again.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, just wonder if you had any ideas.
No, not now. It's bugging me, though, because I had thought about this quite a lot.
Yeah, I know Fisher had sent a picture.
Completely forgot about it. Something Fisher said yesterday. It's all through Fisher, so it's not really my prediction.
Yeah,
Fisher, come back, Fisher.
Fisher's our news. If we don't have Fisher, we're a bit lost.
We are lost. We're an absolute disaster.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting. Definitely looking forward to it. And just nice to have our first War Games match. Do you have any predictions on the men's War Games match at Survivor Series?
Have we got anyone announced at the moment?
Nope.
I mean, you'd want the bloodline, but there's other teasers, isn't there? I mean, and a more obvious one of everyone who is around, which could be quite cool, is Judgment Day versus the OC. But are they definitely only doing 2 War Games matches? I mean,
I think they've said 1 men's, 1 women's, and they're both going to be 5-on-5. So like they've clarified it's going to be 5-on-5. It's not going to be 3-on-3-on-3 or 4-on-4.
If it's 5-on-5, then the likelihood of it being Judgment Day OC is low, isn't it?
Yeah, unless they somehow throw Rhea and Mia Yim in there and do a mixed gender one.
That's what I thought, but that only makes 4-on-4.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that mix.
I mean, you could bring Edge back for the men's side, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really difficult. You really
Bloodline would be banging, but who would they face?
Yeah, I mean the Brawling Brutes. There's 3 there. If Sheamus, no, Sheamus is not injured, is
Imperium
he? Just got married.
Would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, they haven't really got involved, and I don't know who would. No. I mean, the you could easily do Brawling Brutes with Drew and someone else. I don't know who, like Madcap Moss or someone. I don't know.
And I guess Seth's probably going to defend his title, isn't he? So
yeah, and like this, and what Triple H also said in his press release was they would all be storyline driven. So it's not just going to be a random match they put together. It's going to be.
That's my concern. We're getting quite close now.
Yeah, I mean, when is maybe you don't know.
It's not even that far away. I don't think. I'm pretty certain it is.
Fisher would know. Is it November?
Fisher's got it tattooed on his arm, probably.
He does. I reckon Fisher like recites
27th of November, so we haven't got long.
Yeah,
and if it's story driven, where's the story? If you put in 5-on-5, 5-on-5 seems a bit.
It's hard to put together.
Yeah, I can't put the 5th person in generally. Bloodline's got it, but the rest of them.
Yeah, the Bloodline is a 5. I'm trying to think who they've been feuding with a bit. Honestly, Madcap Moss is the 5th person I can think of on the face side because he had a match with Solo Sikoa the other week. I've got no idea though. It's maybe Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but he needs to come back, doesn't he?
Yeah, but maybe he comes back on SmackDown tomorrow night, and then we have KO, Drew, and Brawling Brutes against Bloodline would be insane. That would be great. And also, Ridge Holland's done really well there to get that match.
Just a bit random, though.
It is a bit random,
it's just a bit thrown together. It's not storyline, is it?
Or the Brawling Brutes and the New Day. Do New Day are in a little mini feud with the
Usos,
Usos?
yeah. It could work, but it's not exciting me as much as I'd like it to.
Yeah. No, that does feel a bit.
Let's
put
just have
together.
Gunther walk into Roman one day and just stick them in a match.
Yeah.
Let's get Bloodline versus Imperium, and I don't know who you give to
Yeah, but you
Imperium.
still have 2 members for Imperium as well, don't you?
Let's give him Baron Corbin.
Alexander Wolf comes back.
Yeah. Forgot about him.
It's interesting. That's just reminded me though. When we spoke about the women's division, there was a little brief backstage crossing of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. There's a little stare off. So I've been critical. My main criticism actually of Triple H has been he's just thrown that Rhea Bianca match in the bin, and that's very unlike him. But maybe we're going back to that soon. I think that makes sense for the next feud for Belair after Bayley. Assuming Bayley's not going to win now she's lost twice. I think Belair and Rhea is the best match they can put on going into Rumble. Maybe at Royal Rumble they do that.
It could be incredible, yeah. Really excited.
That's what I would do. Anything else from Raw?
We had Miz and Gargano, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I can't lie. I'm not feeling this feud. I'm really not. It's just a bit flat for me. I'm glad it's sort of coming to a bit of an end, but I don't know. It's just not clicking. I don't know how you feel about it. I know we're both big Gargano fans, and Miz is just generally good. So
I enjoyed it last week. I'm starting to feel like they haven't planned any of this, and they're just making up as they go along. This Gargano is Dexter Lumis. So I don't think at the start Gargano was meant to be involved in this.
No.
And they've had to somehow put together this. Again, I said last week, the story doesn't make much sense. The story they put together. They put together this ridiculous story. And I think the reason it doesn't make much sense is because I don't think it was ever planned. So I don't know what's the end goal here. All I can think of is they may do Candice and Johnny v Miz and Maurice at Mania or something. Or, that's the sort of Mania match they'll put together or something like that. But yeah, there's not a lot.
It's quite a long way away.
Yeah, it is. Maybe Survivor Series to do that. Maybe, I don't know. But for me, this just it didn't really work. And the Miz beat Gargano as well in their match. With what did he hit him with? That turnbuckle pole, didn't he? He went under the ring, and then the ref checked to see if Lumis was under the ring, and he hit him with the turnbuckle pole, and then knocked him out and got the win. And then Lumis hit the Miz with a steel chair after the match as well. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I actually starting to be with you. I really enjoy Gargano's humor in general, but I just kind of want this to be over and Gargano do something else.
Fingers crossed we can get into that maybe after Survivor Series when people come out of some feuds and get him going.
Yeah. We had Otis beat Elias.
Yeah, that was just Otis beating Elias, wasn't it, really?
Yep. Not much on this, actually, at all. That one. I
guess we start with the first match, do we? The big one.
Yeah, the Bloodline minus
a very good
Sami
promo
Zayn.
here, I found, which is really cool.
Just Jay, Jimmy, and Solo.
Yeah, we had Usos versus New Day, didn't we? Sort of in a promo off, which was quite cool, actually. I enjoyed both promos here. I've been a bit stale on New Day lately, but I thought this was actually great from both sides. Not too sure on Riddle randomly coming out.
Yeah, I'm a bit unsure on Riddle going back to just being silly on his scooter, messing about after the most serious feud of his career. It just feels a bit weird.
He's dropped it, hasn't he? After getting stopped.
Yeah, he's gone like he was at this level, now he's gone back down to the silly point. Which
I
I'm
can
not
only
massively
feel
keen
that
on.
the reason for this is they want to really babyface Riddle as much as possible, so Orton can come back, RKO him at the Rumble or something like that, and then we build into this feud. And we
Yeah,
have Riddle versus Orton at Mania. That's the
yeah.
only thing I'm thinking here. Because he was very serious, wasn't he? Which was great, and it's a side of Riddle we wanted.
It's the best I've seen Riddle, like in terms of building a match. We really got it. And I mean, it was part of it was Seth as well being great, but yeah.
Maybe we'll get that again back in the build to hopefully Orton versus Riddle at Mania.
I hope so.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure we would if it got to that. But yeah, we had a 6-man tag match here in the end. With actually Riddle taking the pin, interestingly. The Bloodline got the win. Solo Sikoa pinning Riddle.
Yeah, very interesting. Again, we're mentioning it. Solo is being pushed strong.
Yeah.
To be the enforcer.
Yeah, it's almost got to that point now with Solo. I think he should go after a title because everyone else in Bloodline has a belt apart from him.
The problem is though, Sean Keeney, whose
title?
Whose title?
It's Gunter or Seth.
He can't beat either of them.
Yeah, I know.
You keep him away from my Seth.
He has to go for something, and maybe he beats Seth due to some Roman interference.
Maybe you keep him. You have a story where Roman suppresses him and doesn't allow him to go out. So
yeah, you could do.
And then he gets to a stage where he's like blows because he's like, you're holding me back, basically. I think that's what might happen.
Yeah, we end up with Solo v Roman for the title. Yeah,
that'd be awesome, but I don't know if it's going to be big enough to get to that. But
that also feels like a bit down the line as well. I think we've got a bit to go before we get to that. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, Solo looking strong. I'm just quickly checking if there's anything else that happened on Raw.
Fisher's probably thinking, oh my God, there was a segment where the commentator ate a pack of Cheetos or something like that and you missed it.
I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I'm on their website and they haven't really got anything else on there.
No, my notes are exhausted.
Yeah, cool.
I think I'm out of charge.
Yeah, maybe we need to go away and recharge before next week. But whilst we're doing that, if you check us out on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle, get involved. We have predictions. We mentioned Survivor Series coming up end of the month, which I think is the second. I think there's another AEW pay-per-view before the end of the year. So we're basically towards the end of our predictions league for this year. It's been great fun, and we'll do it again next year. You know, we really enjoy it, and there is a prize for the winner. We think we know who's won. It could all change. I mean, I think I'm actually a point behind now. I think I'm second currently in predictions. I can't win the prize as a Recharge Wrestling member, but if I can win first place, I will. Next year will be hell for you guys because I'm going to be.
You can't be that arrogant.
Living it up.
I've won our own Recharge one 2 years.
Yeah, but it's never been public.
I'm 3 points behind you. I mean, I could still.
Just saying.
AEW predictions. It's going to be like 15 matches or something. We could probably have someone who's at the bottom winning.
I've got no idea, mate.
That rate.
Yeah.
Fisher could overtake us all, which would be an absolute disaster because
Fisher will overtake us, is he?
Terribly.
Someone who knows everything about wrestling. He doesn't do well at predictions.
We've gone everywhere. We've gone way off the rails. Yeah, thanks for listening to us,
Fish
guys.
to control us. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Follow us on Twitter, on YouTube if you're checking us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe. We appreciate all of that sort of stuff. And we will see you guys same time next week.
Cheers. Bye.